Ever feel like, you're working really hard but just not getting anywhere?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're spinning your wheels.
Totally.
Now imagine that feeling, but you're on a factory floor.
Mm-hmm.
Deadlines are looming. Your boss is breathing down your neck. That's the kind of pressure cooker situation we're diving into today with Eliyahu Goldratt's The Goal.
Goal, right?
It's like a business novel.
Yeah.
But it reads like a thriller, honestly.
It really does.
It pulls you right in. You're in the world of Alex Rogo. He's a plant manager, and he is struggling to save his factory from going belly up.
And what I think is so interesting about The Goal is that it really sneaks up on you because you think you're reading about, robots and production lines, but you're actually getting this like masterclass in the theory of constraints.
Right.
Or TOC for short.
TOC.
It's all about identifying these like pesky bottlenecks, right? The things that are holding back any system, whether it's a factory, a business, or even, our own daily lives.
So we're talking about bottlenecks, constraints. Yeah. So it sounds like it could get a little bit in the weeds.
It can.
Yeah.
But Goldratt, he brings it to life.
Okay, good.
So let me introduce you to our protagonist, Alex Rogo. And he's not like this out-of-touch executive,
Right.
He's dealing with problems we all recognize. Pressure at work.
Yep.
Relationships at home are strained.
Yeah.
His team is like, ugh, another improvement initiative.
Right. Here we go again.
Yeah.
Another new system.
Yeah.
So he's relatable. I mean, I'm already kind of feeling for the guy.
Yeah.
So how does he go from this like overwhelmed plant manager to some kind of efficiency guru?
Well, it starts, believe it or not, with a hiking trip.
Okay.
He takes his son's Boy Scout troop out for a hike. And, picture this, right? Line of scouts. They're snaking through the woods.
I'm picturing it.
But the gaps between them keep widening, right? And they're falling behind schedule.
Yeah.
And this is where Alex has this major aha moment.
Okay, I'm going to bite. How does a bunch of Boy Scouts connect to a struggling factory?
It's brilliant the way Goldratt does this. Yeah. So Alex notices that the group's speed is totally dictated by the slowest kid.
Okay.
And they even name this kid Herbie.
Herbie.
Heavyset kid, Herbie.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter how fast the other kids are.
Right.
They are all stuck behind Herbie.
Right.
And this is Goldratt's way of illustrating this concept of a bottleneck.
So Herbie, our slow and steady scout, is actually like a metaphor for this constraint in a system.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see where this is going.
Yeah, and this is where he introduces two really, I think, important concepts. One is dependent events, and the other is statistical fluctuations. Now, I know those sound kind of technical, but think about it like this. Even on a simple hike, each step relies on the one that came before it.
Right.
That's dependent events. And then you've got the little things, right? Someone trips, someone's got to tie their shoe, someone takes a breather.
Yeah.
Those are the statistical fluctuations that can totally throw off the whole system.
Okay, so that makes total sense. Like, we've all been stuck behind someone at the grocery store in traffic.
Exactly.
Who's moving really slowly. But so Alex he's realizing this on the trail. How does he actually apply it back at the factory?
That's where things get really interesting. We're going to unpack that next time. But let's just say that Alex realizes that, just like with the scout troop, his factory, it's got a Herbie.
It's got a Herbie.
It's got a bottleneck that's holding everything back.
Oh, okay. All right. So we left off with Alex, our plant manager, having this like epiphany on a hiking trip.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, my factory must have a Herbie. Did he race back to the plant and like tie a rope around the offending machine and start like drag it along, trying to make it go faster?
Not quite, but I love the visual. But he takes that hiking metaphor and he starts trying to figure out, okay, where are the bottlenecks in my plant?
Yeah.
And he realizes it's not just about pushing people harder or, running the machines faster. It's about understanding the flow, right?
Yeah, it's like yelling at the traffic to move faster.
Exactly.
It doesn't actually make it go away.
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help at all. So where does he even begin?
Yeah.
Like, how do you even find these hidden Herbies?
Well, Goldratt doesn't make it easy on Alex, or the reader for that matter, but Alex has this mentor, Jonah, who guides him through this process. And through a lot of conversations with Jonah, Alex starts to identify what the bottlenecks are in his plant. And it turns out there are two machines in particular that emerge as these like major culprits. One is this really high-tech machine called the NCX-10.
Okay.
It was supposed to be this like, you know,
The big miracle.
the miracle, the productivity miracle.
Yeah.
Didn't quite work out that way. And then the other one is heat treat, which is a department. It's not actually machine, but it's essential to the process, but it's always getting backlogged.
So much for those shiny new robots saving the day. It's always, there's always that one department, or even sometimes that one person.
Right.
Where it's just like everything gets jammed up there.
Exactly.
So what does Alex do? He's identified his herbies. What's next?
Well, this is where the goal goes beyond just like, oh, here are the problems. It's like, okay, how do we actually solve them? And what Alex does is he really takes inspiration from this whole hiking trip.
Okay.
It's like, all right, if Herbie is the slowest one, I need to rearrange things to help Herbie, right?
Yeah.
So same thing in the factory. How do we maximize the output of those bottlenecks?
So instead of trying to get everyone to go faster, he's like, we need to optimize for the things that really matter.
Yes, exactly.
Which, I mean, that seems kind of counterintuitive.
It is. It is very counterintuitive.
So what does that look like in practice? What kind of changes does he make?
So, several things. He starts by making absolutely sure that the NCX-10 and the heat treat department are always running at full capacity.
Okay, makes sense.
He doesn't want them to sit idle.
Right.
He actually shifts the quality control checks to before the parts reach the bottleneck.
Oh, that's smart.
Because otherwise you're wasting time on something that might be faulty anyway.
Yeah.
He even rethinks, like break times and shift changes to make sure that those crucial machines, those bottlenecks, are never left unattended.
He's giving them the VIP treatment. It's like clearing a path for Herbie.
Yes.
Everybody out of Herbie's way. We need to keep Herbie moving.
I bet that probably ruffled some feathers, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where that whole, that human element of change management comes in, right?
Right.
Because some people, they resist the new system. They're used to doing things a certain way. Some workers who are on non-bottleneck stations feel like, wait a minute, I'm getting penalized for being efficient.
I'm doing my job well and I'm being punished. Right. Exactly. So it takes some time for everyone to understand that it's not about individual performance at this point, but it's the overall throughput of the entire system.
It's like what got you here won't get you there kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's a whole new way of thinking. So did Alex just gather everyone around for a rousing speech about bottlenecks and just hope for the best? Or was there more to it?
That's where Goldratt gets really, I think, clever, because he introduces this concept of the Socratic method as a tool for change.
Wait, are we talking about the ancient Greek philosopher here?
Yeah, the one and only.
What does Socrates have to do with a modern day factory?
I love this part because this is where the goal transcends, I think, the typical business book.
Right.
Because Goldratt is reminding us that the most powerful tool that we have is our minds.
Okay.
And he shows how Alex uses this if-then logic, this is Socratic questioning, to uncover the root causes of problems and to challenge assumptions.
So Alex isn't just changing the processes on the factory floor. He's changing the way people think.
Exactly.
That's another level.
It's a whole other level of leadership.
Did he bust out the toga and sandals for this?
I'm kind of picturing that. But no, in all seriousness, he applies this Socratic approach in kind of a surprising way, because remember how we talked about how Alex is dealing with all this stuff in his personal life too?
Oh, yeah. His poor wife.
Yeah.
Julie.
They were practically living separate lives
Yeah.
with all the pressure he was under at work.
So does philosophy actually help save his marriage?
Well, we're going to delve into that in just a bit. But this is where Goldratt so masterfully connects the dots between our professional and our personal lives. He shows how the same principles that can optimize a factory can be applied to relationships,
and sure.
communication, even our own internal thought processes.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. I need to know what happens with Alex and Julie. How do these changes actually play out at the factory? But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's pause here for just a moment. All right, so we are back for the final part of our deep dive into the goal. And I got to say, things are getting really interesting because we've seen Alex Rogo. He's identified those bottlenecks at his factory. He's really embracing this whole idea of constraints he even used, like ancient philosophy, to get his team on board.
It's true.
But they say the journey is just as important as the destination.
Oh, yeah. And what a journey it is. Just when Alex thinks he's got it all figured out, Goldratt throws him and us as readers this total curveball. Remember how we talked about those aha moments?
Yeah.
Get ready for a big one.
All right, you really do have me on the edge of my seat now. I mean, what could be bigger than realizing your entire factory is operating on, like, Herbie time?
Well, so you know how Alex was so focused on like optimizing those bottlenecks?
Yeah, making them as efficient as possible.
Increasing their capacity.
Right.
Turns out that's only half the battle.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He realizes that improving the flow inside the factory is important, but there's this whole world outside the factory walls that he also needs to consider.
So we're not just talking about, like, supply chain issues or anything like that, are we?
We're talking about something even bigger. We're talking about the market
It's kind of,
itself.
oh, wow.
Alex hits this point where he can produce more than he can actually sell.
Wow.
So his constraint isn't a machine anymore. It's not a department anymore. It's customer demand.
Wow. Be careful what you wish for, right?
Right.
He solved one constraint, and now he's bumping up against an even bigger one.
Exactly.
It's like having this perfectly, like, synchronized kitchen,
Yeah.
right? But then there are no hungry customers to eat the food.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the goal becomes so valuable because it goes beyond just, shop floor optimization, and it gets into this whole strategic relationship between sales and operations.
So it's not just about making things faster. It's about making the right things.
Yes.
The things people actually want.
Exactly.
So how does he adapt this new way of thinking about TOC to this new challenge?
Well, he realizes he can't just focus on efficiency just for the sake of efficiency.
Okay.
He has to align his production goals with what the market actually wants, right? So instead of trying to be everything to everyone, he focuses on this niche market where his factory's new, super efficiency gives him an edge.
So he's playing to his strengths.
Exactly.
It's kind of like finding that group of hikers who are cool with walking at Herbie's pace.
Exactly. I love that. And it's this shift in perspective that really unlocks the power of TOC for Alex and his team.
Right.
Right? They're no longer just reacting to problems. They're anticipating them.
Yeah.
They're strategizing. They're constantly adapting.
And this is where, I don't know, it becomes more than, I think, a business book.
Yeah.
Because it's like a life lesson. Right. It's about continuous improvement. It's about always questioning those assumptions and, finding those areas where we can optimize, not just like in our work, but in our lives.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of what Goldratt does. He leaves us with this sense that the journey of improvement, it never really ends.
That's true.
There are always going to be new herbies to uncover, new constraints to break through.
It's kind of daunting, but it's also exciting.
Yeah.
Reminds me of that quote from the book. It says, "The key is not to find the right answer. It's to ask the right questions."
Ooh, I like that one. And on that note, we want to leave you with the question.
Okay.
What are the herbies in your own life? What constraints, whether they're, systems or beliefs or habits even, what's holding you back?
Ooh, that's a good one to ponder. I hope this deep dive into the goal has given our listeners a new way to look at the challenges that we all face in work and in life.
Me too.
And maybe, just maybe, it sparked this desire to ask those tough questions and identify those bottlenecks, right? And unlock a whole new level of efficiency and fulfillment.
I love that.
So if you're ready to, kind of explore these ideas even further, we highly recommend checking out The Goal. It's a really, I think, deceptively simple story, but it really makes you think.
It really does.
And who knows? You might discover that the key to achieving your goals is in, embracing those constraints that have been holding you back all along.
Very well said.
Thanks for joining us. And remember that journey, the journey of improvement, it never ends.